Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I hope you enjoyed that sexy trailer. I'm UK arts journalist Donald Hutera, and I welcome you to Taiwan Season 2020 Online Symposium Connecting with Taiwan. This is the 6th of the 16 online sessions that are happening this month instead of live in Edinburgh. The way this symposium works is every Tuesday there is an informal, approximately 45-minute chat with one of the 4 choreographers whose work would have been shown live in Edinburgh at either Dance Space or Summer Hall. And then on Wednesdays, like today, and Fridays, there is an approximately 2-hour, 2-part themed webinar with experts in artistic practice, production, programming, and presentation. For those you generally need to register, also wanted to remind you, and I will be doing this again, that throughout today's session, in whatever form of chat you have, you can ask questions or make comments during my conversations with keynote speakers and guests today. And at the very end of today's session, there is a chance for you, good audience members, who want to come on screen with us and dialogue if you like. You're not forced to do that, but we do welcome you to do that at the end of the session. And to do that, all you need to do is go to StreamYard, YouTube live chat. Let us know through chat rooms at any point if you will want to come on at the end. Today's session is, as all of them are, has caption support from Wordly. If you have any issues, again, address that within any sort of comment or chat area. So today's session is called New Horizons, Contemporary Performance of and for Disabled Artists in Taiwan. And leading on this is Lee-Chun Yao, who's a theater director, producer, festival director, film researcher, curator, and the director of Guling Street Avant-garde Theater and Body Phase Studio. So could you join me, please, on screen?
Hi, everybody. I'm Lee-Chun. Nice to meet you. Everybody online. It's quite special experience for me to tell online with a global audience. So, okay.
So I'm in London. I'm in London, Lee-Chun, and you're in Taipei.
Yes.
And it's very hot here today, which is why I brought my handy fan.
Yeah.
How is it? How's the weather in Taipei?
Actually, today's a little bit cooler because there is hard rain in the afternoon. So yeah, I think better than in London.
So do you want to just say a little bit about, because your work is new to me and I don't know Guling Street Avant-garde Theater or Body Phase Studio. Would you care to say just a little bit?
Okay. The Guling Theater also quite new actually. Only 20 years old actually. And but the Body Phase Studio, the organization is already going to welcome his 30 years birthday, yeah, next year. So I think it's quite blessed to in 2005 we go to running this theater till now, but a little pity that the theater in the past 30 months under construction for this refurbishment. So yeah, but we are gonna get back to the theater this month. So yeah, now we are trying to try everything to mainly the door open again to welcome all the creator and the workers, yeah, basically all around the world. Okay.
Good. So today, it's me and it's you, and you do have a guest speaker later, I-Lien Ho.
Yeah.
But I think if you want to begin your presentation, unless you have anything else you want to add as introduction, then
okay.
I will leave the floor to you.
Okay, I prepared a PPT report. Yeah, I-Lien also prepared a PPT report and film. She will share them later after my report. So the report will be divided into two parts. So I will try to give a report in 15 minutes. So enjoy it. Yeah. The Sixth Dancing Performance Arts Festival. Yes, this is funded by a veteran art critic and director, Morning, I will say, Morning Wang. He also he found the Body Fan Studio, the organization, in 2001. It can be this organization can be regarded as one of the independent groups emerging in the post-Taiwan little theater movement, as well as the post-martial law period, just after 1980s. Around 2000, okay, got it. Around 2000, Mr. Wang met the Association for the Visually Impaired and its members. So he started to think how to work with them to find a new field of the Taiwanese theatric area. So I prepared a short paragraph of the Body Fan Studio, so you may just have a quick look and got an idea. And I take over the Mr. Wang's position of the director since 2007 because he's a body. So I try my best to take over this position and to continue his mission. Okay. The Sixth Sense Performance Arts Festival, and the festival, its first edition began in 2001, and till now he aims to invite artists with a disability of various aspects, such as blind, hearing impaired, mobile disability, and some mental impaired, all the artists. So you also have a quick look of this description of this festival. Okay, I would like to share a scene before this festival. Actually, in 1990s, there is some artists that also try to think of working with the disabled, but So they already have the practice and collaborations between the non-disabled choreographers and disabled people. And I think Ms. Chao's experiment is a good example. And I show you the picture. Okay, and the picture shows the so-called multidisciplinary scene. Non-disabled dancers dance with the blind man in a wheelchair. Yeah, the man on wheelchair, in a wheelchair, they also visually impaired. But after all, Tao's experiment is a sparkle in Taiwan. At that time, almost all the stuff from time to time is just a dinner shows for charity at home and abroad. Yeah. So I think Chao's experiments is quite significant to me. Okay. Okay, then we see from 2001 to 2004, how we cooperated with the New Battle Art Troupe. Actually, this theater company, the theater group is belong to Associated for the Visually Impaired members. So it's a very important period when the associated work. Okay. But I want to introduce the background. I don't know, friend online, do you know that there is a severe earthquake just happened in Taiwan in 1999? So when Mr. Wang met the members of the association, there's so many experiences full of fear and helplessness, which was shared among the blind members. So the sharing encouraged Mr. Wang to try to help the association to upgrade their training and develop new projects and organize new events, including the Sixth Sense Performance Art Festival. And he himself, I mean, Mr. Wang himself developed his Black Hole series with the blind actor meanwhile. Basically, the association's project sponsored by the Ministry of the Interior in terms of vocational training. Yes, acting become one of the vocational training options. Besides, if you make production, you also can give the proposal to city government or our national foundation or lottery fund. And I think at that time, the new and good projects did appear to the sponsors. Okay, so we have a look at the first edition of the festival. Yeah. Okay. Then we go to the second edition. You can see they also have the not just visual impairment, also the like a physical impairment or hearing impairment from the different areas. The creator and performers from the different areas will join this festival. Okay, this for 2002. Okay. 2003. The members belong to the association averagely have 7 to 10 members, yeah, and they also join in the new project. So every year they also take the training and to give the performance there in the festival. Okay. Originally, actually, they come to take the vocational training. They come to the rehearsal room to learn act and listen to the lectures and do rehearsals for their presentation after workshop. And I joined them in 2003. And I found that Mr. Wang is a consultant and creator, is very ambitious and work with a great expectation. So that you can see the festival are realized annually in the first 4 years. Okay. So far, it's this festival work with the New Bodily Arts Troupe Association. But things changed around 2004. In progress of a great gradual government transformation, the Ministry of the Interior stopped supporting the development of the arts. And things about arts and performance from now on belong to the cultural departments. And unfortunately, the director of the association passed away in 2006. So the festival also just stopped temporarily in 2005. Okay. So far, it's my first part report. So how long?
I'm here with questions. Well, and also, audience, if you have things you want to ask, please pop them into the comment box. Just for starters, I very much like the phrase "body performance," because that implies not just movement or dance, or the word dance is not being used, but it implies something maybe involving multidisciplinary activity. Is that a correct interpretation?
Quite correct.
Okay, good.
Quite.
And with that withdrawal of support and that change, does that mean that the festival stopped happening for quite some time, or did it continue?
But I've mentioned that members that belong to the associations. So when they just lose, they don't have their place. I mean, their rehearsal room anymore. So they lose their base to develop everything. So it's also hard for us, for the public face studio, because we don't have any space for ourselves. So that would be another problem. So, okay, it's also a lesson. So we later I will show you the second part. In the second part, that we find and we run the theater. So how we welcome the members again to the theater.
And
So,
when you say members of the association, you mean performers and people who want to perform and who are working with performers. Is that what you mean by association?
okay, they're mainly the performer, and one or two curator. They make the plans and projects, and so we lost the base. And of course, the members all are visual impaired person, so it's also for them hard for them to find another a new organization, and they try to make a new one after the director passed away, but they just and you know, it's not it's urgent, but it's not easy. So but it's a quite blessed we got the management of the Guling Theater. So yeah, later we welcome them back in 2006.
Now, there's a question from our loyal guest at these webinars, Gary Platt. He asks, what was the demographic of audiences for the performances? Was it different from what other kinds of performance would attract or typical?
Okay, later I will show the method we train the performer and how the choreographer or the teachers, how they work with our performer, because I think it's a key point to show to let the audience know how different we've developed the performance so far, and not typical, because.
Do you think that not typical performing method is what attracted people to come and see the work?
Yes. It just proves that we don't have to say, yeah, they just miserable or they need everybody. It's kind mercy. We can show independently in arts. So yeah, I don't think, yeah.
I have a question about before that, in terms of recruiting members for the association. Were there performers who had a desire before the association began to perform, or were they offered an opportunity that they said, yes, I want to do this? What was the formation of that association, and how were members recruited to it?
Okay, you know, in the very beginning, I mean, in 2001, the members are not, they are passive. They just think, okay, every time I come here, I can get $200 new Taiwan dollars. Yeah, because it is a kind of vocational training and it's supported by the Ministry of the Interior. So they know they can get a little money. So they come here, but they don't move. What can we do? We want them to move. So that's a very interesting initiation. But yeah, try hard. Even there is one, I remember there is one member, she moved after almost 3 years. So, so every time she come, but she just sit in the corner to watch everybody do the practice, any practice. But she just don't want to join them. She don't want anybody to touch her. So I don't know what's the code, but she just relaxed and joined in 2004. Yeah. Huh. So I think it's also very blessed, and I would like to give big thanks to the teachers. They are so they're nice, and they have a patience to keep all the lessons and for the I mean 7 to 10 members there. Yeah. Yeah. So.
Okay. Good. Would you like to go into your second part of the presentation? Yes. And again, audience, ask any questions while we're watching. And then at the very end, if there's anything you want to join us for, you'll be able to do that. But now, back to you, Lee-Chun.
Okay. To be continued. Part 2. Yes, there is a short paragraph of the Guling Theater. It's based on the site of the Japanese colonial government-owned building, originally constructed in 1906. So it's over 100 years that passed. Okay, the theater is quite small, but I think it's well equipped, and you can realize any kind of your idea and to experiment, to do any experiments there. So I think it's very good for, especially for the young generation artists to do any practices there. So let's see. It's a look. Okay, this is actually this is a new look after 30 months of refurbishment construction, but it seems to look become older, I think, because before that the color is pink, but right now I don't know how to tell. It's a green gray, or yeah, darker now. Yeah, okay. Very blessed. We have the theater, and the theater hosted the 5th edition of the festival in 2016, and also very important is that we welcome and work again with the originally the members originally belong to the association. So this time we do some upgrading work. We add a forum in the festival. The forum is talking about performance and human rights. Yeah, you can say about performing rights. So it kind of open eye design to that the audience think of anything marginal or anything that belong to the weakness or anything not belong to the mainstream. So it's the new project in this festival. Yeah, of course, it also more international, because we start to invite the global abroad to join this festival. So you can see this is a group come from Mexico. I think it's maybe it's the first experimental arts from Mexico realized in Taiwan. So it's a very precious experience to work with them, and they give a really good performance. They are actually they are not only they are not only blind men, but they will keep the audience blind. So and then the audience enter the theater, they have to open all their senses except their sight. So it's a very, I think it's a very good experience for the local audience. Okay, I also start to do the new production myself with the disabled performers from the visual impairment and hearing impairment. Okay, we also invite some other, not some others expert to be our curator. Especially, it's very important. He would deal with the foreign. So another the second time we try to make the audience open eye to the word. Okay, we also welcome an dance group from UK, Blue Eyed Soul Dance Company. Yeah. Okay, 2007. I'm afraid yes. Okay, you can see the program. But I'm sorry, I don't have the picture for this year. 2008. 2008, we have a STEM comedy from Canada and another very good national theater from Hong Kong. Yeah, you can see a newspaper report. 2010. I think it's I tried some new wave in this edition. Okay. Okay. Our visual impaired performance during again, and we also invited a performance art Aaron Williamson from UK. Actually, he is the hearing impairment, but and we asked him to go to a location. What kind of location? This is a location of a social movement, protest for the living rights. So you may read something, some message from the pictures of the Aaron's performance. Okay, it's the so-called urban Aboriginal tribes actually. Okay, another group is come from Korea, but they are not any impaired group, but they're talking about kind of ill, physically ill bodies performance. So we also bring him to leprosy sanatorium and share their performance with the residents. And it's quite surprising, amazing. The audience almost know the details. They remember the details of the performer and share their the true appreciation in the post-performance talk. So it's a really good experience. Okay, 2012, we start make the this time we make the festival smaller, but we just give 2 shows, and this is another significant new steps for the coming future. One is one production is directed by myself, called Rain, and the another is produced by the company from Seoul, Korea. I also make a non-disabled dancer with the visually empowered dancer. They perform together. Okay, oh baby, yeah, the artist Kang Sung-Koo, he take his true story about love. He's looking for love, and he hope have a marriage and his own baby, and they have an imagination and somehow set dream after all. Yes, the 10th. This is the last edition before the construction. I mentioned previously for the refurbishment of the theater. So we see what we do this time. Okay, I asked the Korean artist Kang Sung-Koo to join my production, and we work together to make the intermezzo. And this work just can be said, yeah, a bit successful. He later he was invited by the curator, the Accessible Dance Festival of Korea. So and we presented there later next year. This time we also give another, for example, the film screen made by the European artist Karen van Looy, Paralysis. And Kang Sung-Koo also give a short performance this time. Okay, you can see the pictures of the intermezzo. Yes, it's a Taiwan-Korea collaboration. In Friday, I will give more details about this production, so we skip here. Yes, we also have an overseas performance. So we will go to from the 2001 we already reached Tokyo, Hong Kong, Beijing, Chuncheon, Korea, Seoul, Korea. So you will see the brochures of the Black Hole play in Tokyo and Hong Kong, 2001 and 2003. Okay, the Rain twice represented twice in Korea. One is the Chuncheon International Theater Festival, One is just a commercial staging in 2013. Okay, you can see some pages in the curator festival programs for the intermezzo. Okay. I will show some pictures about our workshop, because I would say it's a key the key point how we develop and how we keep the festival continuously. It's the basic work, very fundamental. So you can have a look of how we organize the workshop leaders. There is the therapist, there is the choreographer, dance choreographer, lawyer, social activity, yeah, drama director, or others, actors, musician. Yeah, music is quite important actually. It's the theater and the rehearsal room of the Guling Theater. So you can see there is many people at the very beginning in 2009. Okay, Megan Lee. She, I have to say, she just like all the methods are localized. She's the key person. And the main method is the context improvisation. Yeah, from to touch by hands or the barefoot, to touch the hidden lines on floor, and to learn, listen to the live music and song arts. Miss Megan Lee help a lot. I can say more about the how we do to touch by hands. Yeah, most of the time the members put they will put their hand on the dancer, the teacher's body, especially her limbs and waist, to know the details and sequences of the movement, and then to learn and finally get their own movements. Yes, you can see touch is very, very important for the visually impaired performers. And they also touch each other. Yes. Yes, to feel the weight, or to make they can do the same movement. Yeah. Okay, they also go jogging in the studio. Yeah, the non-disabled with the disabled members in the workshop. Okay, we also have some connections with local organization, institute in Taipei and some other city. Yeah, very important is the Integrated Arts Education Association of Taipei. It's some youngsters suffer the cancer syndrome, and they take a long-term course. Was hosted by the Madame Ling. You can see in the picture there is the old lady. She still very vividly lead the workshop and share the presentation after the workshop with the guests. Okay, another new young dance theater group, resident island dance theater. I think maybe some people in UK already see their performance, and they also cooperated with the cultural center in South Taiwan. Okay, I worked with them for one or twice occasion. Yeah, another is come from the southeast city, big city, Kaohsiung in Taiwan, home performance experimental field. This group, later, our guest speaker, Professor Ho, she will give more details about the theater group she founded in 3 or 4 years before. So we'll check it out later. Okay, I try to to host the new edition of the Sixth Sense in Performance Arts Festival in 2021. So today's sharing is also to try to do some pitching. So if you have a work or you have any idea for this festival, just share with me. Thank you. Okay, Donald, I finished my part 2.
Yep, Lee-Chun, that was fascinating. And also, I very much appreciate all the graphics and the titles of dances. You know, as a journalist, I enjoy the names that people give to their work and things. I really enjoyed that. Thank you. There have been a few questions, and I have some questions, as always. So in terms of practical support, the Ministry of the Interior was the first government body providing sponsorship, and then later that got transferred to Ministry of Culture. Is that right? But because Ministry of Culture was kind of under the umbrella of Interior. And did that transfer make, what kind of difference, if any, did the establishment of Ministry of Culture make as opposed to Interior?
Okay, because you know, now we have our Ministry of Culture. So the ministry, is responsible for all the affairs with the culture and the arts. So whatever culture and arts belong to a new ministry. So the Ministry of the Interior, they just don't want to responsible for this kind of affairs. So okay, we have to find a way to appeal to the new boss. But I think the association is not so sophisticated in the to do the projects, especially to appeal to the cultural departments. So they just have a dilemma. So I think maybe it's make the director so unhappy and give his body as ego influence. So yeah, it's that story.
So part of your job, as with anybody in the arts, is besides making art and facilitating opportunities, you also need to secure funding and support. That is part of what you do, of course. Yeah.
Of course. But yeah, but I belong to, maybe my I belong to the area of the cultural arts. So I'm supposed to be good at to do that kind of project and make it appealing to the bureaucracy, the government. So so after we have the theater, things for the disabled, I think it become maybe more mainstreamed. But I think it's good for us to realize all the ideas of this kind of arts. Yeah.
Well, because that's a comment that's been made. Was there ever any kind of special department that dealt with arts and disabled people, or a kind of sub department?
I don't know, but yes, I also mentioned the lottery fund. The lottery fund actually have the vacancy for the disabled, but I don't know. I never try actually, because they asked all the they just want the disabled artists to show over by themselves. I don't know what this kind of conventions that, so I cannot have a lot actually to ask for the lottery fund. Yeah. So yeah.
Dealing with ministers and administrators and politicians and government people, I guess I'm thinking, how do you convince or persuade them of support? Do you encourage them to come and see work? Do you have long conversations? How do you go about it? How do you get that funding and support? What methods do you use to secure that, if possible?
Okay. Actually, we got a lot of veteran friends. They are volunteers every time, because it's still hard to ask for the big account of money from all the sponsorship, the foundation. So it's still hard for us to localize the to realize a big scale of the festival. So we just keep it not big, keep it small, and make it more professional. And but we are lucky. There is still, there is still many artists around the world. So and their effort also encourage our members, the disabled performers, and so they encourage them to keep going on and to fight for their knowledge in arts.
Yeah, for the right to create, actually, to be artists. And so moving away from that ministerial money side of things, funding, on the arts side, there has been a question from Melis about art for and also by ? Disabled people, and how does the creation of that and inviting international artists, how did that change the way of talking about disability for the members and change it's the representation of that art on stage? Very good question.
Okay. If the you know, if the accept the visually impaired performer, the other impaired artists, I think they just well educated them. They themselves are very well educated. But for the visually impaired performer, their job, the ordinary job is do the as a massage in the hospital or in some store. So it's quite hard actually for their living, and they also the way of communication with them is also have the problems. So that's why I already said there is a lady, she just can stay in the corner just to watch out, just to feel, and she just don't want to join them. Yeah, for 3 years. So somehow they in their deep mind there is many hidden secret or problem that, and they the key point is you have to make them trust you, but it's the most difficult. So so to find a language to communicate with them, especially for the arts, it's another language, I think. So the touching is practical. The touching is physical and practical. So I don't know. Maybe voice is very important. If you don't have a beautiful voice, maybe they don't trust you. Sometimes I feel it. But we should learn, not just learn. We should learn. We learn together. So for so many years, as to me, from 2003, originally I just think, oh, it's a very good one. Blind man can hold everybody together and to pay their attention on the stage. I think it's a very good theatrical work. But after that, I think not that simple. They have also they've been feeling an idea and some discontent. So content, the idea is hidden. We cannot see. So so why the therapist is also important in our group. So every time we ask one therapy to come join us to analyze or to communicate with the members.
Because I think of the arts as very liberating, but it will take time and building of trust and confidence, no matter who you are or what you're doing, and also time to figure out what you have to say and want to bring out in the public arena, from self-discovery to public sharing. It's a big, wonderful, complicated journey. So for you as an artist, I'd be interested to hear about your aesthetic, your artistic practice. Why do you want to work in the field of disability arts, and what do you bring to it as an arts maker? What is your artistic vision?
Okay. Aesthetically, I think this kind of performance is a kind of arts of value, because from time to time we always confront the value, but I think it's also give me a new feeling to be reborn every time. You know, every time when especially the visual impaired performer, they always return to zero. Next time you work with them, they seem forget everything. They don't. They seem not to operate themselves. So I think it's very strange. You can forget everything. We have worked for so long and for so many months. So, yeah. So, but it's also give me another idea of being reborn as a creator, and that made me, yeah, more energy, keep more energy, and humanly, I think. To work with the disabled members, they need more constance and more intimacy. So they will feel the non-disabled creator, of the choreographer, of the director. Yeah, have a feeling to feel that you are not alone. Yeah, I think apparently. So I think it's also give me a good experience to work with them. Professionally, actually, and personally, I just love to search the technical innovation in theater. So the production with the disabled artists and performers always can give you a chance. Every time you can find something new and develop a unique device or just a technique for them. So it's a challenge, and yeah, but very
in a way, forgetting everything you did before or knew before means a fresh beginning every time. I quite like that idea, because everything should start from a fresh investigation. So, you know, it's a very good practice, I think.
Yeah, I like it very much. Maybe I-Lien also have the same feeling, so maybe we can listen to her.
Let's bring on your guest. Would you like to introduce her, please?
Okay. You know, Taiwan is an island. I based in the north and I-Lien based in south. And you know, our encounter is not so easy actually. Believe me, for my 20 years experience, it's not easy to find someone want to devote herself into this area. So yeah, I'm lucky to find a new friend, I-Lien, and maybe she can introduce herself better than mine. So please, I-Lien.
Welcome on board, and do unmute yourself, please.
Oh, okay. Hi, hello everyone. I'm I-Lien. Hi. So today I will share some of my experience from the point of view as a director and performance maker in making a disability performance in the south of Taiwan. So first, okay, so please show my PowerPoint. Yeah. Okay, and yeah, okay, so please go to the introduction. Next. First, I will introduce my own background, why I want to bring performance art into the performance making, and hope to expand the performance language. And this is also support my working methods with a disability group because I want to, as a performer-centered and body-centered, So we don't start from the script, but start from interviews and improvisation. And also we incorporate the actual physical and psychological challenges into the performance. Okay, next. My previous work, I use a contemporary performance language to illuminate the concept of Kongwu from Taoism and Buddhism. And next. So I make the three performers to responding to the Nanjing Pact. The first performance, point without language. So I using writing calligraphy on the surface of the water to thinking about language and about the problem of representation, and that inspired by Peg's use of a video. And next. So number two is responding to John Cage. How he think philosophy through the music. And so then I use performers to think how we create the illusions of a continuity in our narrative. Next. So the number three performance is responding to Marina Abramovich's, like I thinking about how artists create the persona in a live art. And so it's a way also talking about self-identity. Next. So those ideas and specific cultural worldview helped me to, after I moved back to Taiwan with many young artists in Kaohsiung, we create a performance experimental field. And we want the performers can become a bridge to bring people from different communities to have a real conversation and to unearth the bare truth, the real psychological status under the mask of the norm. Next. So how I start to make the disability performance is because Zhuoming Lao Shi, he invited me and many young artists to lead the performance workshop in the social welfare organization. That is also where I met Xiaojun, the performer of the number one performers. But also in, next please. And also in this experience, I see a very different models of to represent disability from artist's point of view or from charity and self-welfare organization. And also a lot of time, people in a lot of performance or charity organization will represent the people with a disability as inspirational model or very positive or pitiful people who need help. So we want to work with individuals, not from the people who arranged by the social welfare. So three of us, Xiaojun with a cerebral palsy, and Jinjin, another dance artist, and I co-create I Am a Normal Person, number one. It is Xiaojun's solo performance. And because we got very good feedback from the number one, and then we recruit more people, and it becomes a 6 performers and 4 artists together. We create the I Am a Normal Person, number 2. Okay, next. Okay, next, please. So we start from a lot of interviews, and Xiaojun, the performer, she want to speak back to a lot of social stereotypes of the disability. And so we want to use performers to make audience to understand differences more and better. Next. So the number 1 and number 2 performers, the common thing is we don't talk about success, but we talk about failure and shame and also vulnerability. we want to use performers to release and touch many unbearable feelings that we face, maybe just alone in a dark night, and to use performers to transform those hard feelings. And so move to the number 2 performers, because we have 6 performers from all, with the mixed abilities like autism, Down syndrome, and also polio, deaf, and blind. So we want to explore very different and particular embodiments in the performance and incorporate many different translating and communicative strategy we use in the rehearsal into the performance. Next. Okay, so now I will show the I am a normal person number 1 video. So please play the video. So in the beginning, there was solo performer, Xiaojun.
现在黄黄的，我马上去给医生检查，医生说他黄疸过高，然后我问他说，那这个孩子要以后会怎么样？
She's performed.
他也不知道。 妈妈，为什么？那个可以骑2轮脚踏车，为什么我不行？我也很想要跟他一样，有爸爸脚。 为什么我不能？为什么我需要骑3轮的？爸爸，虽然他是要干嘛呀？我赶快按他，我已经就跑起来了。你刚刚能给你，我知道。 我跟我妈妈、妹妹、我Lee出去，我说我看进来，妈妈就看着妹妹，给我就看这种物件。 然后我你讲你把我坑到啊！你跟我讲唔捌，因为这个情况，你讲你怎样？你改，我是跟你讲，因为是我一直在教，因为。 因为那个我很了解，
教室外的走廊，同学下课的时候都在那边嬉戏玩耍。慢慢的走进入那个小小军的身体。So in these sections, Xiaojun, the performers, she used the first person, second person, and third person perspective to talk about her relationship with mother and father, and she jumped between mother, father, her present self, and also the childhood self. Okay, and please play the next clip.
Five, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8。1、2、
So Xiaojun here, he challenges create actual challenge of a balance because of she's being the cerebral palsy, and she also invite the audience to experience the actual physical challenge with her. Okay. Next.
表示你是正常的。当一般人和他们聊天会很心疼。
Here, she responds directly to the post-it audience passed from the beginning of the performers when they walk into the theater. So if she's agree or she's not agree what the audience say about disability people, and she also create another actual challenge for herself of the writing and the drawing because she has a distorted hand. And so she draw a self-portrait and also have writing some words to describe herself, to responding back to how audience see her. So these sections are using the following is action score, and it's also to talk about Xiaojun's life stories about a lot of failure and facing a lot of social expectations on her. Here she wants to say thank you to herself, because she has this very particular body. Otherwise, if she fall down in a life, she won't have the courage to stand up. Because she says she knows there's no one can help me for the whole life. Even the most intimate family members cannot help you. So the final sections, she danced. Also because during the rehearsal, she has also a lot of shame about her body. She feel she cannot dance. So this part is after the 4 months of rehearsal, she started accept that every movement can be dance, and she used this courage to encourage audience to dance with her. And also there was a live video of the space. Okay, thank you. So, okay, this is my first sections of the presentation. And now welcome Donut back.
I really enjoyed watching that and listening to you speak. And several questions, and obviously audience, if you have any questions, put them in the comment area and we'll try and deal with them. I very much like that you mention the reductive stereotypes of inspirational or pitiful or pathetic. Mm-hmm. And you know, obviously human beings are much more layered and have many more things going on. And I wonder how you feel about the word that is a bit of a buzzword called authenticity. Although I personally, I like that word. I think I understand it, but is that a suitable word for the kind of work that you want to see or make with performers?
Yeah. Yes. This word is also a buzzy word for me, because although I really want, during a lot of training, rehearsal, we really want to ask what's the real psychological, mental status or psychological status we are. And because this is a reality we construct and we live in. So although that the performers perform the self on the stage, we actually keep asking which kind of or which versions of self we want others to see when I am on the stage. So although we really wanting to be ourselves, we still, it become questions, what is the self, and then that authenticity was being seen on the stage is also through the long rehearsal process, a long discussion process.
And during that rehearsal process and discussion, it will lead to artistic choices. And am I right that those choices are collaborative always, that you are suggesting things? In this case, Xiaojin has ideas, it blends and comes together. Is that, I'm
yes.
right, yes?
Yeah. Yes, and because it's three of us making decision together, with, because there was also the other dance artist, Jingjing. So I think the decision is not belong to one individual, but it's something in between three of us. So that self is also coming from three of us. Keep doing a lot of body actions and talking, chatting, hang out.
And also, I wondered about the interactivity with the audience, getting the audience up on their feet to join in, at least for some of the performance. Does that sort of audience interactivity happen fairly often or rarely? You know, in the Taiwan art scene, disability art scene, is that a strategy of expression that, how often does it get incorporated?
Well, this part, I think later we can ask Lee-Chun because he knows much more history about Taiwan disability performers. But for us, because we want theater or performance become an approach or as a bridge. So the most important is not to make something looks beautiful or craftful and skillful, but can we open the conversation with audience, with strangers, something we feel difficult to say, to talk about.
Good. Well, I'm perfectly ready for you to go into part 2 of your presentation, and then see you afterwards.
Okay. Yes.
Thank you. Appreciate.
Thank you. 谢谢. Okay. So please go to the slide. Then next, please. Okay, so that now I will share I am a normal person number 2. We pick up gums together, and this performance is just finished on the 1st of August. Next. So as I say, we after the number 1, we feel a lot of good feedback. We want to create another performance. So this time we recruit more members, and it's a 2-month workshop. So next. So after the workshop, we have 3 times interview, and there was 6 people stay with us, and then we go into the creating process. So you will see Xiaojun, the left one is the performer from the number 1, and Yi-Ran and Guanhua are the new members, but they are also actually the audience of a number 1 performance. And 3 of us are all cerebral palsy, but has a very different conditions and needs. Next. Okay. So the left one is little Angel. She's with Down syndrome and autism. She usually don't communicate with verbal language, but body and facial expression and gestures. And in the middle is a Big Apple. She's with a deaf, so she uses sign language and lip reading, and also we use a handwriting during the rehearsal. And Wan Nian, he is more than 60 years old with polio. So you can see we have 6 very different performers with a different need and even the different generations. Next. So then I feel the need to have 4 artists together, so we can have using a very different artist approach to communicate with our performers, because we want to make our performance as a center. And Yi-Jun, she's a dance artist, so we work from the number 1 performers, and Hui Shen, she is a vocal improvisation sound artist and also art therapist. And Jia Feng is a theater maker. Also, he became blind several years ago. And Jia Feng's position is very important in this project because he became the bridge between the artists and performers. And because a lot of difficult issues, he has a position to talk about. And so, and also Jia Feng is the audience member of the number 1 performance. So we can see a lot of audience become our co-member in the number 2 performance. So now let's see a little bit short video about our creating and rehearsal process of the number 2.
我去让他坐在左边的那个椅子上面。
Okay, PowerPoint, please. Next. And next. Okay. I realize the video sometimes has lags, but you can, if you are interested, you can go on the Com Performers YouTube channel, so you can hear the sound artist work. Is a funny, and also he's making an experimental sound, and so in the number 2 performers, I think because from the network in the south of Taiwan, I can connect the people who are doing experimental performance to the social engaged art. And so this is a next. Okay, so those are the people, the production team we work with. And for the number 2, next. Okay, so so during as a collective, 4 artists and 6 performers, like between the 4 artists, we actually confront each other's have a very different expectations of how we want to see about disability being staged and to be seen. And also we have a very different ideas of what theater making should be. And so we confront each other's difference, but also because 4 of us together, we can have more power to transform the hurt feeling and hurt experience, especially 6 performers. Everyone are in their own different life stage. So, and because we can also face the actual challenge we have in our rehearsal. Next. So the first section in the number 2 performers is body names. The performers use mostly just bodies, and they move around the stage and walk with or crawling, and so with the wheelchair or mobility aids. So people can see even within the disability there was layers of differences, and also rethink what disability means. So next. And because in the first performers, the number 1, we see why we asked, there was a question why people clapping more than to see the performers by disability performers. And so we insert several times of clapping through the performers in the number 2. Next. And we also incorporate the sign language into the movement language. Next. So the other sections is about life stories, but we give up the verbal expressions of the written life stories, which was used a lot in the number 1 performance, but transform the written text into the actual action challenge. So it's become the action score. Next. And so also the performer as the audio describer, while the other performer is doing the action task. Next. And we also create a real encounter between the audience and performer. The performer invite the one audience to sit next to him on the stage to observe and describe each other's food. So on the stage, we might be able to consider some issues that we might actually otherwise avoid in our daily life. Next. So again, this is a transform the other 2 performers' personal life story into the action score. And we want to, the audience can understand the world of the people with the disability better. And also, I think through watching other people's life story, we can understand the self better. Next. Okay, next. We also create entertainment program like a variety show, and we invite 3 audience to be part of the game. And the host, the performer, will ask some charged question. For example, do you want to date a person with a disability, or do you want to make love with a person with a disability? And also the host will ask directly the audience why and the reason why you choose this answer. It also makes people feel maybe uncomfortable, and audience can observe the other person's choice when facing a very surprisingly questions, and reflecting to oneself what kind of position I am in, if I were that person in that position. Next. So the written is like, you wear the facial mask, so I can read your lip, and also I cannot hear clearly. So here, Big Apple, she shows that this rule game, she cannot participate. Next. We also incorporate a lot of misunderstanding and differences between different generation and different disabilities inside the performers. Here, the performers, 2 of them fight against each other about, for example, different expectations of why I want to be on the stage. I don't want to be a professional performer. I just want to experience, have fun. So why you request me so many things? Or you are a bad actors. And so, and also, or like, I don't want to follow your game rule to play, such as this kind of argument. Next. So the other section is many little monologues. The performers speak the words they're wanting to say directly to the world. And many words are those that one might choose not to say, and or doesn't dare to say in the daily life. Next. Okay, so because little angel, she is autism, she doesn't really use language to communicate. And also Big Apple doesn't feel the variety show is good for her because she cannot hear anything, and other people around her is talking in verbally. So Big Apple overthrow the game rules. She say she want to play and entertain herself in her own way. So here we want to using the performers to analyze, to emphasize the untranslatable differences. And next. And next. So The final section is a vocal improvisation. And here the performers was undercover by the plastic cloth. It's like they are talking about secrets and they were discussing something in their own tribe language. Okay, next. So because we don't just want to make performers, we also try to find a lot of network supporting from local public library or academic institute and National Tainan Living Arts Center. So to build a network then so we can talk more about disability issues. Okay, thank you. And this is my presentation. And let's bring to hot guy back. Hi.
Here we are, Lee-Chun, the hot man of the world. Two bodies. Question for you about this work, which is very fresh and hot. This work, I mean, I've really enjoyed that tremendously. It's very tantalizing, and I would love to be seeing it live somewhere. But I am curious, I-Lien, after this premiere that you've recently had, will it be seen in how many other places in Taiwan, or how many performances, and do you want it to tour abroad?
Well,
touring. I'm asking touring questions.
Yeah, I think, yeah, that's what some people were asking me, why don't you, tour, maybe go to Taipei or to other places, because they see this issue are very important. But I think how disability performers can travel is also very about, for example, because we travel from like Kaohsiung to Tainan, how can we have transportation for accessibility? This part also, and also environment, can we find a hotel or all the environments is suitable for all our team members feel safe and feel home? And this part need a lot of more work than normal regular theater or performance productions, and also technical support. Yeah.
So if it were to go anywhere, that would all have to be put in place, obviously.
Yes, yes.
But if that were all put in place, am I right that you would want this to be seen, excuse me, seen as widely as possible?
Yes, of course, because I see there was a lot of difficult issues. I mean, as a team, a group, a collective, we are still trying to find a way or a different approach to talk about it through performance. Yeah.
And it also depends too on, do the performers themselves want to be going on tour? Maybe they don't.
Yeah, that is why I'm going. We have a meeting next week. We want to reflecting about how we feel after the performance, because for us, when we doing a rehearsal, that's one question we keep asking: what kind of life lesson we can bring back to our personal life? So the performers can actually looping back to our daily life. How can we live in a different way? So I think the decision need to be made between all of us. Yeah.
So we've got about another quarter hour at the most. I would like to invite anybody who might have a question that they want to ask on screen with us. Now is a good time to do that. I think there'll be the StreamYard link to allow you to do that. I know there was a question earlier during your presentation, I-Lien, from Taiwan Season's friend Gary Platt, about what is the most important thing that you've learned from working with these performers. And feel free to have more than one thing.
Well, well, all the experience are very fresh for me still. I think they actually challenging me about making theater, like what kind of methods or standard process we should follow to making theater. Because before the training in the very more traditional drama or theater, I was trying to be really precise, and everything has to repeat and repeat. But this is not the case when I'm working with the group for disability performers. There was need a lot of space to forget about controlling and forget about what kind of training from professional dance or theater. But go back to I think it's be honest about life. It's go back to the questions about life. How can we actually listening to each other, even in a working place? And can we try not to imitate the power structure we often live in our daily life or in professional life? And so this leading me to ask, also that's why I want to see if that's maybe a better way I can bring some performance art ways of making and producing artwork into theater. But that's still, for me, I still very struggle with this. And so the other things is I made me rethinking about what kind of body is or I want to see on the stage. Maybe not the good training or techniques, but the honesty and also the courage to be right now in the present moment. And this kind of courage, actually, I learned a lot from my performers because I feel they have more power and to be honest and have a courage than me. Yeah.
Great answer, by the way. And Gary also suggested, what about doing a virtual tour, an online tour of the work? I like that idea.
Yeah.
I'm there. I'm your audience right now. I'm one person. Are others? I'm sure.
So we need to know how to make the virtual video, or I don't know.
Well, you've recorded. You've got a recording of the entire performance. Yes.
Yes. But we will still have an editing, and we still don't know what actually we got.
Well, maybe Ministry of Culture can provide support for you to do that.
Maybe I should ask
an idea. So we have another question from Charles Gaskell. Do you draw a distinction between physical and mental disabilities? What kinds of different approaches might they require?
Wow.
And I don't know if you both, Lee-Chun, do you want to answer that as well?
Actually, I don't do that to draw a distinction. Yeah, but somehow I'm a way to someone to get close to me, because I think the agent in their own mind is very important. If otherwise you can, I don't think, especially in Taipei, I don't want to do anything to push anyone to do something or to spend lots of energy to do the organized everything. I love to work with the artist. So I'm lucky. I already have at least 4. So they, but they are different. Their disabilities are different. So it also give me a lot of, yeah, I have to learn, actually. Yeah. I have to learn too.
Just to share this with you, many years ago, I directed a show which was 4 monologues, and it wasn't with visibly self-identified, etc., disabled people. But I learned that each actor I was working with, I had to find a different way of working with them, because I couldn't transfer one set of rules to another to draw out the best of them. So I had to individualize and hold all those individual processes together and try and unify them. It was a great challenge, very educational. Maybe for you, it's also like that. It's looking at individual people, not programmed process.
Yeah, I think so. But that also, when you, for disabilities, you work with members with 4 kind of disabilities. It means that it's hard to imagine that you can travel together. So how far we can go with our arts is very difficult. But I have some experience. Maybe I will share with I-Lien later to do that. But yeah, it's a big group. Okay. Originally we were only 4 people, but we kept to 8 or 9 people to work together and go outside.
So how did you two meet anyway? How did you two know? What was your first meeting between the 2 of you?
Right now, 2 already there. They are
no. I meant Lee-Chun. I meant you and I-Lien. How did you two
meet? Yeah, I'm famous.
Lee-Chun is probably the only one. Only one.
He gave me an invitation to share my experience with the people in southern Taiwan, and I think, wow, good. I just want to get out of Taipei and just say something more to more people. Yeah.
So Lee-Chun, you're both a hot man and a famous man.
Okay.
I'm glad you accept that. I-Lien, there's been a comment just how great and political the work was. Is there some place to go to read about your working process, your work, your ideas in English? Is there any source for that?
Well, I plan to write about it. Hopefully, in soon. I want to share the experience I have in Taiwan, because when I reading a lot of works, literature in English, I cannot find anything about Taiwan. How Taiwan or even Asia here, we make disability performers. So I also,
Well, and maybe if anybody is interested in contacting either of you, they can do that through Taiwan Season. And it is possible in today's world to connect with others fairly easily. Also, Lee-Chun, you mentioned the SSIPAF 2021. You made a pitch earlier. So if anybody has what kind of work are you looking for? Are there any criteria?
Okay. Not, maybe not really big work. There is also a problem. It's the the equivalent in the hotel or in the city for the disabled friends. Taipei is a friend enough, actually, but there is still not enough to be perfect to any kind of disabled friends here. So I don't know, but I think if it can give me idea more experimental, any, how to say, stimulate, or yeah, I think everything is possible. I think, yeah. And I also asked someone can introduce their local experience. I think it's quite attractive to me. Yeah. So
okay.
yeah.
So again, that's the SSIPAF, and
Yes.
for performing in 2021, if there's anyone out there. Maybe one last question. I'm not sure. I know we have a representative from Unlimited Festival who is, or I think was, maybe still is watching. I don't know if there's any comment from or about Unlimited. I'm just sort of throwing that out there based on, you know, any response from Unlimited? Okay, so that means Unlimited, thanks, accessing them now. Right, they're being in touch. Okay, we'll see what happens. Oh, and to go back to the question I asked earlier, in the meantime, Lee-Chun, this interactivity with the audience, is that something that back in the old days, was that happening is it happening frequently now, you know, where audience is directly involved with the performance and becomes a part of the performance?
You mean the ordinary audience, or the
for work with in disability field, to bring the audience, to have them be, you know, to come and look and talk about feet, or to get up and dance? Is that a recent development, or has that existed for a long time, relatively?
I think some become our sponsors, but in my mind, I hope the people they've seen the performance by the disabled performer can be encouraged to join the theater. And I also think it's a kind of the idea of inclusive art. But I also encourage my visually impaired actor. I told him, because sometimes he's kind of lazy, he's just tired of being too tired, a daily job, and then in the evening go to the theater for the rehearsal. He always feels very tired. But I told him, you will go through so many years, and can't you find it's the best way to lead your rest of life in theater, and theater will never closed. So you can keep on going into the theater, to make friends, to work with them, and you have your own work. So I also in that way to encourage the non-disabled workers and artists to devote them to this area. Yeah.
And in Taiwan, is integrated work very common? Is there much of that happening now, you know, with disabled, non-disabled?
I think now generally people know that something happened about that. Yeah, but I don't think the mainstream yeah, mainstream should responsible for more about this area and to show more possibilities. Yeah, I would do more and more, but I think others should do more. Yeah.
Well, what kind of relationship, maybe this is a sort of final question, what kind of relationship do the both of you have with whatever in Taiwan is considered mainstream theater practice or organizations? How separated, how distant, or how close do you feel to mainstream?
No, there is not that kind of difference between us. Then, yeah, we work together actually, but I think the more important is the concept is changing. So, and in the little theater we do a lot of experiments. I hope that they perceive it. They can, yeah, also enjoy it and use it. And so, you know, I don't know. Yeah, work together.
Yeah, because I'm also quite new to the south of Taiwan. I think here a lot of just only small of a group of people who are making arts and performance. So we were, working together sometimes by project. So yeah.
Okay.
It's like project by project.
Okay, absolute final question. Support for for instance, for 2021, for this work you want to do, Lee-Chun, is that going to be easy to access? Is it coming from ministry? Do you have that already in place? How secure is it? What about support?
I think the environment is sometimes worse, but some point of view it's become better. So if you can give the good proposal, you have the more mature project, I think it will attract the sponsor. I don't know, I just have a little bit more confidence right now. Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that. I see that, I-Lien, you've put in the YouTube channel, etc. right now for those in the audience who want to know. And I think it's time for us to wrap up. It's been such a pleasure to be in this funny, flat world with the two of you. This warm human world. And thank you, audience, for your interest, your questions, etc., for being with us. I just want to remind you that on Friday, there is part 2 of this themed webinar week, which is Body Stories, Intermezzo, and Others. And there was a reference earlier to the intermezzo, and that will be brought forward. Your guests then, Lee-Chun, will be Sandra Tavali, the composer, musician, and Karen Anderson from Independence in Glasgow, an organization she has been involved with for quite a long time. So there'll be an international perspective even more. And then on Thursday, there is a repeat on Taiwan Season's YouTube channels and possibly Facebook as well, of the informal interview that I did with Hong Chong Lai yesterday of Hong Dance about his production Boundless and his work generally. He's a really charming man. If you have a chance to watch it again, I think it was a lot of fun, and you may enjoy that. You'll learn things. It's been so instructive and a real pleasure to repeat myself. Thank you both, Sheshe. Thank you, audience, and please do come back for the rest of the month's 10 more Taiwan Season online symposium 2020 Connecting with Taiwan sessions. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.